Tonight, we're not just telling ghost stories. We're opening up a file, a documented transcript of an interview with something from the other side.
I mean, really think about that. What if the darkness in the corner of your room wasn't just empty space? What if it could talk back? And what if somebody, a journalist, actually sat down and had that conversation? So this is where it all begins. This isn't just some campfire tale. An actual Egyptian journalist, Muhammad Isa Daud, claims he did it. He sat down and interviewed a jinni, and he wrote it all down in a book. The things he learned, yeah, they're pretty unsettling to say the least.
All right, so the first meeting, the journalist Isa Daud, he starts with the basics, Who are you? And this being, he introduces himself as Ibn Kanjur. But it's the very next question, how old are you? That just completely shatters any sense of normal reality. Get this, he says he's just a teenager, a youth in their world. But his actual age, 180 years old. And that's considered young. He mentions his father died at 950. His great-grandfather was nearly 1,000 when he was, and I quote, struck down from the sky.
And if you think that's old, it gets even crazier. This is where our brains just kind of short-circuit. He claimed some jinn can live for thousands of years. The oldest, up to 7,000 years. Can you even begin to imagine the things a being that old has witnessed? Okay, so if they're real, what do they look like? That's the big question, right? The journalist asked him directly, probably expecting to hear about all the monster movie stuff we've imagined. But the truth? The truth was way more subtle. And honestly, way more disturbing. So forget all the usual horror movie cliches, the twisted faces, the tails, the giant horns. What Ibn Kanjur described is something that's, well, it's almost human. And that's what makes it so creepy. It's like something familiar has been warped just enough to feel completely wrong, completely alien. Let's break down what he said piece by piece. First, the eyes. They're not round like ours. They're long, like a deer's, and they give off this soft red glow. Their ears, pointed, kind of like a horse or a cat. And their hands. This is where it gets really weird. Their arms and fingers are way too long for their bodies, just unnaturally stretched. You take any one of these things, it's just odd. But you put them all together, and you get something that is absolutely not from our world. And it just gets weirder from there. He says every single one of them has two tiny, almost hidden horns. Their bodies more flexible than you can imagine. And their biology is just totally alien. Like, they don't have solid waste. It's this thick vapor or pressurized gas. It all points back to what they're made of. A light gas, a kind of smokeless fire. And that's the key, right? That's why we can't see them. So if they're invisible, where are they hiding? This is the part that really gets under your skin. Because according to Ibn Kanjur, they're not just in some remote desert or at the bottom of the ocean. Their world is right on top of ours. They're not far away. In fact, they couldn't be any closer. He actually listed their favorite spots. And yeah, sure, some of them are what you'd expect. Deep oceans, vast deserts, remote caves. But then the list gets closer to home. The unused rooms in your house, the rooftop right above you, and your bathroom, the most private, vulnerable places. In fact, Ibn Kanjur told the journalist that a whole family of jinn lived in his house, right on the roof, and he said that whenever he cooked a meal, they would come down and eat with him, at his table, completely unseen. Okay, so if they're all around us, what brings them into our lives? What attracts them? And this is fascinating. Ibn Kanjur basically laid out a set of rules. Think of it as a how-to guide for attracting the things you really, really don't want. It's like you're sending out a signal. For example, displaying statues or even just pictures of living things, leaving a room in your house totally empty and unused, or something as simple as carelessly pouring boiling water down a drain. He's saying these aren't just harmless actions. They can have serious, unseen consequences. He got really specific about the statues. He said they're like magnets. They give off this kind of light or glow that we can't see, but to them, it's like a lighthouse on a dark night. It's an open invitation, a glowing sign that just says, come on in. But it's not all just about hauntings and creepy rules. The interview takes a hard turn into something truly bizarre. A story, supposedly a true one, published in a newspaper in Kuwait back in '79. And if this story is real, it points to a power that is just beyond anything we can comprehend. So here's the setup. You have a 57-year-old woman, Samia Wadi. She's got terminal cancer, totally inoperable. The doctors have given up. They've sent her home, paralyzed, in a coma, basically to die. There is zero hope. Then a neighbor has an idea. Just play recordings of the Quran for her. And something shifts. For the first time in months, she seems to find some kind of peace. She's actually able to sleep. Then, one night, she makes this incredibly strange request. She asks her husband to wash her body with expensive perfume, shut off every single light, and just leave her, completely alone, in total darkness. He thinks, okay, this is it. She's preparing to pass on. But the next morning, what he finds is just impossible. He has to force the door open, and there she is, unconscious. And her entire upper body is wrapped in perfect, clean, professional medical bandages. Bandages that were absolutely not there the night before. The doctors were just floored. They run tests, and the cancer is gone, completely removed. They said it looked like the work of an impossibly perfect, delicate surgery. When she finally woke up, she told them she remembered feeling figures around her, unseen hands opening her up without any pain and taking the disease out. So was it a miracle? Or was it surgery performed by invisible hands? So the interview covered their biology, where they live, even this incredible story of healing. But just when you think you've heard it all, Ibn Kanjur drops one last bombshell, a promise of something much, much darker. He said his father once took him to meet Satan himself. I mean, what would that even be like? What does evil incarnate actually look like? How does it operate? The interview claims to have those answers, and it just leaves you wondering what other secrets, what other absolute horrors are waiting in the rest of that transcript.